The Lighthouse is the newest film from director Robert Eggers and follows two lighthouse keepers played by Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, who are both alone on a small island off the coast of New England, and both of them become distrusting of one another and also gradually start to lose their minds. The Lighthouse was my most anticipated film for the rest of the year, mostly because the trailers for it were incredible. I also really loved Robert Eggers' last film, The Witch, or The Vivitch as some people call it. The Witch was a fantastic horror film with incredible performances, immaculate directing and cinematography, terrific production design, and an absolutely bone-chilling musical score that has stuck with me ever since I saw the film. Needless to say, I was expecting another phenomenal film from Eggers. But did it live up to my expectations? Let's find out. In my opinion, the strongest aspect of The Lighthouse is easily the two lead performances from Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Robert Pattinson is absolutely incredible in this film and gives one of the best performances of the entire year. Watching Pattinson's character start off being a quiet and reserved person that slowly loses his mind was one of the best things I have seen in a movie this year. Pattinson also captures a wide range of emotions without ever being hammy or over the top, even in the scenes where his character is acting like a complete lunatic along with Willem Dafoe. Speaking of Dafoe, he gives one of the best performances of his entire career in this film. His character is basically an over-the-top pirate/seaman and at points feels like a parody of how goofy he acts. But the movie's aware of that and even pokes fun at the fact that he's essentially Captain Ahab from Moby Dick. Willem Dafoe brings a ton of energy to his role, and I honestly think that no one else but him could pull off this role. I've always loved Willem Dafoe in anything he's in, but he was on another level that I haven't seen in other performances of his. The chemistry between Dafoe and Pattinson is also fantastic, and their interactions are filled with nail-biting suspense and tension, built around whether or not the two of them will turn on each other. Dafoe and Pattinson deserve all the awards for their incredible work on this film, even though they'll probably get snubbed by all the major award shows. Another positive I can say about The Lighthouse is the absolutely outstanding cinematography. This film is, in my opinion, the best shot film I've seen all year, and I love how it's also shot on film, is in black and white, and has an aspect ratio of 1:19:1. It gives the film this classic look, and a lot of the shots remind me of shots in horror films from the 1920s and 30s, plus the aspect ratio gives the film this feeling of complete isolation and dread. I also have to give major props to the lighting of this film because it's incredibly well done and it adds to the look of the film. The editing in The Lighthouse is terrific as well, and is some of the best I've seen in the film all year. The musical score by Mark Corvin is also terrific and is one of my favorites of 2019. It's loud and unsettling in many scenes, but also soft and calm in others, and is used at all the right moments. Corvin also did the score to Eggers' previous film, The Witch, and both his scores are some of the best I've ever heard in a horror movie. The sound design is also amazing. There were a lot of scenes in the film that gave me chills because of it. From the sounds of waves crashing, seagulls screeching, a blaring foghorn, thunder and lightning, and other elements I won't spoil, this film just does an excellent job of making the viewer feel uneasy and disturbed while watching it. The Lighthouse also does an incredibly good job of evoking the time period it's set in. The production design, the costumes, and the dialogue are all top-notch. And I admire Eggers for doing a lot of research to learn how people spoke back in the 1890s, which is the same thing he did with the dialogue in The Witch. I think it's an understatement to say that the directing by Robert Eggers is just about perfect. He's a director that's so good at his craft, but is never pretentious or self-indulgent about it, and at points his directing was so good that I didn't even notice it sometimes, if that makes sense at all. This is a serious psychological horror film, but it also has elements of a dark comedy as well, which could have seriously hurt the movie if handled by any other director, but Eggers masterfully handles it, is used at the right times, and is also used to add to the story as well, but is also incredibly bleak and morbid. I'm honestly amazed that this is only Robert Eggers' second film, because this film was handled so well that he feels like a director who's been working for decades and is a master of his craft. Overall, The Lighthouse is nothing short of a masterpiece. This film is perfect in every aspect, from the acting, characters, story, cinematography, editing, directing, writing, musical score, and the production values. I can already see people discussing and analyzing this movie for years to come, like trying to figure out every unexplained plot detail or analyze the themes of it. Without getting into spoilers, all I'll say is brush up on your Greek mythology, because in my opinion, this film's story is eerily similar to the story of a well-known figure from Greek mythology. However, I could also see where people would find different meanings in the film than I would, and that's the great thing about this film, and why I think it'll be talked about for a long time. I easily think this film is better than Robert Eggers' last film, The Witch, and is not only the best horror film of the year, but one of the best of the entire decade. Robert Eggers has proven himself to be one of the best horror directors working today, alongside other directors in the genre like Ari Aster, Mike Flanagan, and Jordan Peele, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. I'll be honest in saying this, but The Lighthouse is my new favorite film of 2019. Yes, it did the impossible task of dethroning Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as my favorite film of the year, which I didn't think would happen. I absolutely recommend The Lighthouse, but I will warn you, this film may be too unconventional and weird for some people, and it doesn't provide a lot of answers. But I think that's part of why I liked it so much personally. We need more movies like The Lighthouse these days, because it shows there are some truly talented filmmakers out there who make movies that challenge the audience and make them think about their films long after seeing them. I am giving The Lighthouse my highest grade of approval, which is an A+.